This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. I hold in my hand a resolution from the House Select Committee investigating the events of January 6th, the insurrection, the failed coup attempt, the failed overthrow of the United States government. Listen, the reason I say it over and over and over and over, I repeat those same words, is because it needs to sink in with everybody of what took place. This wasn't some kind of a protest. This wasn't a happy family reunion. This wasn't a trespassing event. This wasn't just, it just got out of hand. This was a concerted, strategic effort to attempt to overturn a free and fair election. An attempt to take away your vote if you voted for Joe Biden. The people of America spoke, and Republicans didn't like the words that were spoken, so they tried to overturn the election. We are similarly at risk of losing our democracy because one of our two major political parties is trying to destroy the republic. This particular resolution has wording to find Mark Medows. I'll just read it. Resolution recommending that the House of Representatives find Mark Randall Meadows in contempt of Congress for refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued by the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. And in this report, they outline because here's the deal. They outline all kinds of stuff, but here's why they have so much information. Because Mark Medows initially said, I'm not cooperating. And then he said, I'm going to cooperate. And he started turning over documents. So they have some things from him. And then in turn, he did what I predicted he would do, and he pulled out. He said, I'm not going to cooperate. Because Donald Trump got in his ear, and although an adult, although a grown man, he listens to Donald Trump. When Donald Trump says jump, he jumps. He doesn't even ask how high, he just jumps. Because he is a coward and a sycophant and a bootlicking loser. So they outline a whole bunch of stuff in this particular recommendation for finding him in contempt. And they list a whole bunch of stuff. And then it says this: beyond those matters, the Select Committee seeks information from Mr. Meadows about issues, including the following. Mr. Meadows exchanged text messages with and provided guidance to an organizer of the January 6th rally on the Ellipse after the organizer told him that, quote, things have gotten crazy and I desperately need some direction, please. The substance of the text message is neither here, it's important, but it's not really what I want to talk about. It's the fact that he's turned over this intimate of communications. Now, there's two items that you're going to be reading about in the news, and those are the ones I'm going to talk about today. And that's the fact that he called and said that the National Guard, he emailed and said the National Guard was on standby to protect Trump people. Mr. Meadows sent an email to an individual about the events on January 6th and said that the National Guard would be present to, quote, protect pro-Trump people, and that many more would be available on standby. Now, naturally, when you hear that they are there to protect pro-Trump people, the analog to that, the other side of the coin, is that they're protecting pro-Trump people against everybody else. I think it goes unsaid that the United States military, National Guard included, does not serve one political party. And even though Donald Trump ran his administration trying to punish Western states that are blue, withholding federal assistance in wildfires in California or Washington, that is not how the government should work. It is antithetical to we the people. In order to create a more perfect union, establish justice, provide for the general wealth, all of it. This is a nation of many. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. And Donald Trump didn't run like that. And even in the waning days of his presidency, after losing spectacularly to Joe Biden, he was trying to govern like that, using the military to only protect his people, while only months before, he was gassing peaceful protesters a block away from the White House in order that he could stroll across the quad and hold up a Bible that wasn't his in front of a church. Further, they say this: Mr. Meadows received text messages and emails regarding apparent efforts to encourage Republican legislators in certain states to send alternate slates of electors to Congress, a plan which one member of Congress acknowledged was highly controversial, and to which Mr. Meadows responded, "I love it." Mr. Meadows responded to a similar message by saying, "We are," and another such message saying, "Yes, have a team on it." This means that Mark Medows, the chief of staff to the President of the United States at the time, was trying to create a fake electoral college. These are the lengths to which they were willing to go to win, to stay in office. The American people spoke, and they went a different direction, into fraud and lies and conspiracy and extra-constitutional solutions to problems that didn't need solved. And finally, Mr. Meadows forwarded claims of election fraud to the acting leadership of the DOJ for further investigation, some of which he may have received using a private email account, and at least one of which he had received directly from people associated with Mr. Trump's re-election campaign. So he's working with the campaign with a personal email address, so there wouldn't be records of it, so he assumed, and here we are. This is a 51-page document. I do not have it all printed because, that seems pretty wasteful because I'm not going to read everything on air. But this is important. I'm going to put a link to this from Congress's website. I would encourage you to read as much as you can, as much as you can stand. You know, some of it's dry, some of it's legalese. But this is where we are in America right now. This is the problem. I've been screaming about, finally this weekend, the media was all over the fact that our democracy is failing and it's not going to happen with a bang. It's going to happen with a shrug. That's a thing I heard this weekend. Finally, listen, this is why what I do is important and people in my space on YouTube. This is why what we do is important, because the media is 2 weeks, a month late to catch up. Corporate media. How long have I been talking about being on the precipice of failure in our country? That our democracy is at risk. There's an existential threat being posed by Donald Trump and his acolytes and his idiot supporters, both in power and out of power. That January 6th was not an isolated incident. It was a strategic moment. And that it failed, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try again. We saw the dress rehearsal for January 6th all throughout the months prior about mask mandates in Michigan, where they stormed their capital. All practice runs. And hopefully we're able to stop it again, which is why what the committee is doing is so important. Because they learned from their mistakes. They did it again. They learned from those mistakes. Next time, we might not be so lucky from a loss of life standpoint, but also a loss of our country standpoint. If you like voting and you like having a say in your country and your democracy, you like easy access to women's reproductive health care, you like having a reasonable government that doesn't tell you what to believe, what to think, then you better get involved and you better wake up if you're not already aware of what is happening. Dangerous, dangerous times. As always, I would love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. social media. Good times. Sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes I just want to bury my head in the sand and turn it off. I don't think you can turn Twitter off, but yikes. Anyway, if you appreciate what I do, you'd like to support and produce what I do, help with my move to DC, growing this operation into something a lot different than it is now, you can click the join button below this video, become a channel member, or you can go head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Both those are fantastic ways to help support what I do, help produce my work. And going forward, there's going to be a lot to produce. A lot of changes coming, obviously. Anyway, I love you guys a lot. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for your time and attention, your liking and subscribing and commenting and sharing the videos. All of that goes a long way to help support my work. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.